Hello everyone, Storm 101 here. Today, excuse me, we're going to be doing a live stream on an update that's on a winter storm that'll be coming in for the Midwest, and yeah, major changes have came since I made the last video on it, which is yesterday. And let me tell you what, it's a major change, one of the major changes or last minute changes that I've ever seen from the models. So, we're going to get started with looking into models here to show you what I'm talking about here. So currently we have a surface low over the Missouri and Illinois state line, and this is eventually going to be pushing to the east here, east northeast, and it kind of falls along a little bit the Ohio River. The new surface low does eventually develop behind us here. As you can see, all this snow here. It's not that heavy amount of snow coming off from the European model. But what's the major change? Well, it's actually the shift in for the snowfall amounts here, which I'll show you guys that in just a moment. Here's 3 o'clock. So your snowfall amounts are actually a little bit further south than yesterday. We're talking about quite a bit of miles as well. And that could be coming interior northeast, nor'easter there, I should say. But your snowfall amounts, what the heck has happened? Remember yesterday, your highest snowfall amounts were actually right in here. Actually, your highest snowfall amounts were right in here for some of these areas here. Now it's not. It's actually shifted pretty far to the southeast here. If you got some higher snowfall amounts, we're talking about 8 to 12 inches for a few guys here. You know, like around Detroit, Michigan, Flint, Fort Wayne, Lafayette. Even Indianapolis has a little bit of a chance of getting a decent amount of snow out of this as well. And some of the balls actually even have shifted a little bit further southeast than this. Let's take a look into the GFS here. Look at here. Look how far southeast this here is. Look at Indianapolis. It looks like they may be able to get up to 5 to 8 inches of snow. Toledo, somewhere to that. Detroit, Michigan, Cleveland. Even Cincinnati's starting to get a chance off of it for the GFS. Evansville. And Louisville, not so much. But look at, we have winter storm watches for these areas right up here. We do not have any winter storm watches right through here. And this is going to be a major bust if they do not change this quickly because of how far the shift the balls have been over the past a couple of runs. And so those high-res balls there have made that shift as well. If we take a look into the high-res NAM, so not as far southeast, but we may be able to see this shift a little bit more as well. You can see around Chicago, there's a decent amount of snow, but some of your highest snowfall amounts are actually pushing to the southeast. It's actually kind of expanding a little bit as well. And this is the next 60 hours, so it's almost the entire event. You can see around Springfield, perhaps 7.3 inches. Fort Wayne, about 7.5. Toledo, 8 inches. Detroit, about 11 inches of snow. South Bend, maybe about 9.5. And let's take a look at some other models here. Let's take a look at the original NAM. It's currently on its update. We might be able to wait on that on this live stream here. It's not going to take too much longer here. Oh, I just realized that the title I just put a 1 at the end. Oh well, it'd be okay. But anyways, guys, if you guys got any questions, you can put in the chat. Feel free to do so. And look at the major difference here. This is the Weather Prediction Center's probability for more than a foot of snow or around a foot of snow. The models have it in these areas right in here. This is where the models have it right now for some of the highest snowfall amounts. We're talking about potentially 8 to 12 inches here for some of these areas here. Probably a little bit less Probably a little bit less than 8 inches as well. But look where they have it here. The Weather Prediction Center's forecast here. There's even about a 20 to 30% in that light green area there. And I don't know when they update this here. I'm not 100% sure. I don't see it. Where have they done it? But anyways, um, this is going to have to be shifted to the southeast very quickly before it's going to be a large bust for them guys here. And you know, the models may even shift it a little bit more to southeast if they want to. That could probably give me a little bit of a higher chance for some higher snowfall totals, at least for wraparound snow. It's off the screen, but in central Kentucky, you may be able to get a little bit more wraparound snow around the low pressure. Now, if we go to probability of more than 2 inches, look how far north all this stuff here is. They have it all the way up here. And I even told a person, Rockford, Illinois, were asking if they were going to get where are the chances of snow. I said it was likely. But now, by looking into models, and you can see here, it's actually updated fairly quickly. Rockford, Illinois is right here. And look where all the snow is. Man, that's pretty ridiculous. That is some real teasing for all these snow lovers across northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin. It's really a shame. It really is how the models really tease you like that. And looking into the original NAM models, so far it actually hasn't not even reaching into Chicago. This is actually kind of insane here. By the looks of the NAM here, the original NAM, which is it's actually starting to get in its early stages here. But I think we should keep it on this screen here for now. I guess we could wait on the NAM 12K. It is updating fairly quickly, which is nice. Probably tell when it gets probably hour. Let's see here, probably hour 39. It slows down there because all these here are about 1 hour. Then it kind of reaches to hour 42, and it starts to skip about 3 hours. So yeah, um, we could probably talk more things here in this live stream here. We might talk about the upcoming pattern change here, which I plan on to make a video on that very soon. Maybe tomorrow. But again, I mean, look at this here. They got very high confidence here. That's a 90 to 95%. Actually, that's 95 to 100%. Actually, they even have a 5 to 10% area across northern Kentucky. There's even a 10 to 20% there. So that's something. Expect this here to dramatically change here. We're probably going to see those 95 to 100% values probably in these areas right in here. Probably a little bit more widespread, maybe a little bit further to the northwest or southeast here. Just depends where the models want to place it at. And this is going to be starting tomorrow, I believe. Yeah, tomorrow. It's when it begins. I mean, the models have not been doing good so far this year. They really haven't. It's just not good at all. I'm glad I did not make a forecast on this here because it would have been a big, big bust on my forecast here. My forecast at this point here, if I was to make where most of the snowfall would be, probably in some of these areas right in here, could probably get a decent amount of snow. Maybe a little bit further to the southeast here. It's definitely off the screen here to the northeast, of course. But you know, this could shift a little bit more to the south and southeast here. We're going to see what the weather Weather Prediction Center's next forecast will look like, it's going to look completely different here. Like Rockfield, you might only have perhaps a 10 to 20% here at this point here, but we're going to see it there. And wow, it actually stopped at 18. Well, whoops. Let's see here. Again, if you guys got any questions, you can go ahead and put it in the chat. And we could probably talk about the upcoming pattern change here. Probably talk a little about it while the NAM is updating. And so the upcoming pattern change, if we kind of move on to a different model like the GFS model here now, this is a system I've been watching for a while now. Well, let's first talk about this here. See where the GFS actually has a kind of like a bombing cyclone type of thing, but it just kind of misses the northeast a little bit, you know, with the track of the low pressure system. It's not like following like this. It actually follows something like this here, which is very interesting. And there's also another wave of snow that may come in across Kentucky and Tennessee, and another wave comes in there as well. So a couple weak waves there to see the total snowfall amounts. Highly doubt there's going to be what's that, 5 inches of snow for some of those areas there in Tennessee. But a pretty good area in here of 1 to 3 inches there for the GFS. And again, so its highest snowfall amounts is actually kind of across northern Ohio. Pretty much a good chunk of Indiana into most of Illinois. Well, what it seems there. Excuse me. Um, let's talk about this major pattern change. So the east starts to warm up here. You can see here comes a trough coming in from the Pacific. That'll be moving to the west, and it's a very strong trough. Looking into the 500 millibar winds. And this low pressure system really starts to deepen as it gets into the plains. It's currently 992 millibars. And that's a severe weather look. 990 millibars. And that is Wednesday. Now, and it's 996 over Illinois. And decent amount of snow across Iowa, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Now, of course, this is going to change a lot in the upcoming days. And look at these isobars here. Look even down Tennessee. Very close isobars there. That indicates strong winds. And the models are not kidding. If I show you on a different website, well, let's first go to the Euro. Kind of move on here. So, moving on to Tuesday here. Here's your low pressure system. It looks like over Kurtzville, Missouri. Here comes your squall line of storms. And again, very strong southerly winds here. Kind of move on to the overnight hours. I think this is going to be able to make it through overnight. So I think it's going to be stronger than what the Euro is showing, in my opinion. But let me show you the wind gusts, though. Yeah, very nasty here. You got 74. Gets even better when it gets into Tennessee. 77 wind. Let me tell you guys something. On the 0Z run of the European model, oh my lord. In these areas in here, it was projecting winds gusting up to 86 miles per hour in these areas in here for portions of Kentucky and Tennessee. That's definitely well overdone, but that's very strong winds coming from the European model. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, 70 mile per hour wind gusts. Not buying that. But the GFS is kind of in a similar way with stronger winds. it's actually a little bit slower. You can see here it's picking at some areas 50 to 60 miles per hour in a few areas here. And there's also a different website that shows a little bit more high res. It actually has winds gusting up to 70. So that's just a really to watch. It really is. Here comes your squall line of storms here. And of course, things are likely going to change here. If this does verify, I may be able to do a little bit of storm chasing with this here. But it just depends how it's going to go. Also, I will have school on Wednesday, so the timing is going to be very tight. I get out of school at 3:05, and the GFS has it projected about 3 o'clock. So, meanwhile, the Euro has a little bit day behind. It's actually into Tuesday. But it happens actually overnight. I can drive overnight, but it's also going to be a school night, so it's good. I can't do much of anything. 8 o'clock in the morning looks like it's when it happens. Man, that'd be a nasty drive for me in the morning if I verifies. That's ridiculous. It's pretty mild too. Look at all these widespread mild temperatures. I mean, it goes as far north as Chicago, 60s, Grand Rapids, Milwaukee. If we go back to the GFS model here, so there goes your first system. And keep in mind, there's going to be a southeast ridge going on here across southeast. That's what's going to make these storms go kind of miss the northeast here, at least the low pressure system itself. So the northeast, you might not be able to see a chance of snow. You know, the GFS shows another system later on that might be able to do it. But, of course, this is over 10 days out, so this is voodoo land, that's what we call it. So more than likely going to change. We kind of look onto previous runs for the GFS here. I don't think it's going to load for us, unfortunately. You see here, that is way too far to the south, but it's also brought it back up to the north. I heard the 0Z run here was insane for the GFS here. Like, yeah, 978 millibar low over Kentucky and Indiana. That's crazy, but that's not going to happen. I'll just tell you that. If we look into the Canadian model, it's actually a little bit different. It does have a little bit of a bombing like cyclone over Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Missouri. The only problem with this here is the cold air is actually a little bit further behind. It does catch up when it gets to the Midwest, but I don't think I'll be buying that just yet. I think that Euro GFS here has a realistic look to the system here. I think it kind of makes sense because of the southeast ridge, which is going to help with the temperatures, the instability, and the moisture, and to keep these storms fired up here. So the best chance, the severe weather, which is definitely a chance there. There's even a better chance for supercells and tornadoes back at the plains, but the overall severe weather threat, who has the best chance of severe weather? For a rough draft here, it'd be for these areas right in here that'll have probably the best chance of severe weather. But things will change. This is about over 10 days out. Okay, now it's made a lot of progress. Let's see what the NAM has to say. Yeah, much further south. The very northern edge of the snow gets into Chicago just about. This is so far behind. Good lord. But I don't know what else to really talk about while we wait. So if you guys got any questions, you could go ahead and put it in the chat. This is going to be very interesting here. I honestly do not know how much snow I'm going to get. I may get a coating of snow, at least for wraparound snow, and there's supposedly going to be another round of snow coming in from two weak systems, very weak systems. You'll be able to tell it the vorticity at 500 millibars of the pieces of energy that be coming in. Okay, we just got some more hours in. Yeah, look how it, yeah. Whew. Seems like there's an agreement from the NAM to the GFS. Indianapolis really gets into it, and Springfield, Illinois, man, I'm getting closer and closer to it. Hey, bring it a little bit more southeast here. I haven't really seen a snowstorm yet in a couple of years. I will not mind to get a winter storm here. Yeah, I cannot imagine if this thing here goes another 100 miles. That that'd be awesome for me, but it'd also be sad for the people around Chicago because it was forecasting to get a lot of snow around there for a while. Then the last minute changes, well, don't look like it. Feel bad for those guys because I know how that feels when you get a last minute change. You don't get it. And the National Weather Service forecast still has high snowfall amounts for those areas there. So, yeah. But right now we're just waiting on the NAM here to update here. It's currently working on the 0C run to see what's be happening. So far, it has an agreement with the GFS. It might actually, oh, it's actually further south than the GFS. Daggone. I don't know how much further south it's gonna go. I really do not know. Here's this total snowfall amounts coming from the GFS. Look into the Canadian, which it usually overdoes snow. The Canadian does. Well known for that. You can say it's further north, but keep in mind this is the 12Z run, so this may completely change on the 0Z run. So this is updated since 11 o'clock this morning today. Um, so I would not be surprised if this shifts to the southeast as well. I haven't really checked on the icon model either. It's on its 18Z model run. This is not a really good model to use because it always underdone snow. I mean, look around Chicago. Only 3 to 4 inches of snow. It's only on its 18Z run, so it's probably going to move southeast as well, like the other models are doing it. I'll say the Euro do it as well. I feel like the GFS might do it a little bit too far south because the GFS goes crazy with winter storms and stuff like that. Just kind of looking for all these models here. Come on, load. The internet's pretty slow here. I'll say that. We need a upgrade. It's what we really need. Oh man, getting tired. Taking off these tabs here will definitely help. Stick with one tab for now. But again, if you guys got any questions, you could put it in the chat. Uh, I don't know what else really to talk about. I guess I could talk about spring a little bit. Um, so I put into some thoughts into the spring, and there's some new things coming in that could change up the forecast more, and that's the AO, and it also hit a record for something. Oh yeah, the strongest AO ever. I think it was like a 6.5, and that's a very strong AO. What I'm talking about is all the cold air and stuff is just staying in the Arctic Circle, and it's been staying there for a very long time now. And models have been indicating that the AO will change over, so it'll start to warm up, and all the cold air comes to the south. And if what I've talked about the southeast ridging and those warmer water temperatures around Florida, kind of like those Gulf Coast states, will kind of create like some ridging. And what that'll do with those two things kind of colliding with each other, you get severe weather in between, because those are two major differences here. One side could be winter, the other side might be more spring to summer weather. And that can really create severe weather. And there's been really good indication there's probably going to be some troughing here in the west, and then a little bit of southeast ridging here. And what the boss has been indicating for a while, well, actually not for a while, um, is a very active pattern into March, which I'll create the March forecast later this month here. People have already made their March forecast, which I think it's too early. Some people made their March forecast back on the 18th, I believe, which is very, very early. And I do not like that. So, yeah. If I were to make a March forecast here, I think I'll put this is not official, but for my thoughts here, I think there will be some colder than average temperatures here in the west, and across the east here would be kind of warm, which I don't know why I'm putting these letters. I should be putting in W for warm. That's not a great W. And colder in the east here. Now, in between here, which I do in black here, in between here, there's going to be some active severe weather. You'll have above average precipitation for some of these areas in here. And closer to the warm sector of all things here, if some conditions would be right, there could be some severe weather for some of these areas right in here. So there's definitely going to be some severe weather trouble in March, and that's what people have been indicating for a while now. I've been uh, looking to people's tweets here, talk about the AO and all that stuff. I mean, it's just not looking great here for March. So the guys have highlighted in red here, which is like Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and Arkansas, maybe into Ohio. Those states there need to keep an eye on the severe weather in March. And what the model's been indicating, the Euro, the CMC, and GFS, what I've showed you guys already, kind of shows something like that. Kind of very similar. And we could probably see more stuff like that here in March. So, am I going to change up the spring forecast? Maybe for some changes like the southeast, maybe a little bit drier. So, yeah, man, this is really taking longer than I thought. Video output low. Yeah, the internet's not great. It's definitely not great here. So, all I'm really doing right now here is just waiting for the NAM to update here. I'm gonna look on stuff on Twitter, see if people have talked about the weather predictions I didn't mention about high temperatures, 90 degrees in Texas, while -9 in Colorado. That's a big change. Max Brooks, welcome to the stream. Is it too early to say how far north that active weather will get in March? Could the Chicago area be seeing impact? Um, at severe weather-wise, I don't think you guys will see any severe weather, but you will see an active pattern where you have multiple low pressure systems that can give you above average precipitation. There could be, perhaps, it kind of depends on low pressure placement. There could be a little bit of a winter storm threat in March. So, like, I'm going to highlight the areas right now that can see probably more than likely some above average precipitation. And it's going to be these areas right in here. Can more than likely see some above average precipitation here. Probably not this far to these. Probably cut it off like something like this here. Uh, this area here probably definitely see some above average precipitation. Now the far north side of it, might be able to see some snow here. That's something we'll probably have to watch in March here. Some of these low pressure systems might be able to try to get some snow to go on the north side. So, but a good question though. Man, still waiting on the NAM to update. Man. You can see here, that's quite a bit of snow there. It's literally for like the entire state of Indiana. I can see a lot of snow. And kind of similar to Illinois too, but not in the far northern portions. If I was to make a forecast again for the highest snowfall totals, probably something like in there. Right, not that too far to the southeast here, but more than likely, kind of cutting off here. There could be some amounts that could be up to a foot, at least around a foot for some of those areas in there. I do apologize, guys, if I'm lagging. It's just the internet's not good. Where's the damn 3K? Yeah, it's updating as well. Looks like Chicago maybe can get some snow, but it's not gonna be a lot. But it looks like it so far. So we got 2 miles updating currently, which is nice. You can see here at the secondary low pressure system kind of develops here. I might be able to see a chance of snowfall accumulations in central Kentucky. Just depends how much moisture will stay around. The cold air will be in place, but it just depends how much moisture it's going to be in the area for any wraparound type of snow. Oh yeah, the Northeast, yeah, those higher elevations like across New Hampshire, Vermont, New York State, some of those higher elevations might be able to see maybe up to 18 inches of snow. There's going to be a lot of snow up there. I'm just going to say that. If I look into the GFS, which it actually doesn't really show that, well, it actually does right here. You can see here those higher elevations can see some very heavy snow. If we look into the snowfall accumulations, as you can see there, there's some areas reaching 18 inches. So for some of those mountainous areas across New York State, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine, can see quite a bit of snow. Something I almost forgot to mention there. So this is how far the name's got. 33 hours. So far it's not a lot of snow, but that'll definitely add up a little bit later in the run. Gosh, Lee. I was stuck on hour 39. I thought this would be quicker. I mean, I did say it'll slow down as it reaches to hour 42. If you guys got any more questions, you could put it in the chat. Man, still waiting on the NAM here. I'm still surprised of how far southeast. Okay, there we go. Um, I'm still surprised of how far southeast, how far the models have brought in the snow to the southeast. Someone said it brought down the snow, the high snowfall miles, about like 100 to 200 miles. It's insane. And just in a couple of runs. And there's a good agreement on that. That's the bad thing. There's a really good agreement on that. Okay, so looks like I could see a pretty good amount of wraparound snow. But here's the overall look here. You can see here the heaviest snow misses Chicago. It actually hits around Toledo, Detroit, Indianapolis. It's going to be very close to Cincinnati and Louisville, especially Cincinnati. Dayton, maybe we'll see a pretty good amount of snow as well. Columbus, I don't know about you guys. Sandusky, looks like can get a good amount of snow coming from the NAM. Yeah. Uh, Imagine if I wake up the next morning and it just shows a snowstorm for my area. That'd be crazy. That'd be really unexpected. I don't think that's gonna happen though, but I wish because I haven't seen a winter storm in a couple years. The last time I got a winter storm, I got 8 inches of wet snow. You do not want wet snow that causes power outages and tree damage. It's just like an ice storm. It's basically what it is. It causes some of the most very similar damages, like an ice storm will. We'll see what the 3KM will say, which is a high res model. It's a little bit more high res. Yeah, it seems like it's very similar. And this is Chicago, and it kind of bullseyes Indianapolis. Very unfortunate for people in Chicago. I mean, the meteorologists earlier in today's newscast were still predicting quite a bit of snow, but they did mention about the models. So, yeah. So at this point here, I think we should see winter storm warnings, I should say, because it's actually about time. It's not too much time for winter storm watches. It's because we're pretty close to when it begins. It begins tomorrow. Yeah, kind of continues on throughout the entire day of Wednesday. So, yeah. More if I can go onto a different website. We can go to Pitiful Weather. Yep. Definitely it's gone a little bit further. Okay. Yeah, tropical tidbits is slower than Pitiful Weather. Yeah, this is the perfect view for it. Dang, it actually kind of misses me with snow. Daggone. Look at the snow. Yeah, that's a heavy band of snow coming through central Indiana. It really is. Let's take a look into the total snowfall accumulations. Yeah, about 8 inches of snow. Chicago, 1 to 2 inches. My area there is starting to get some snow a little bit. Starting to enter the state, Kentucky. Take a look into the original NAM. It's actually a little bit further than the tropical tibbets. So take a look into this one. You can see it's got around my area actually about an inch of snow. Huh. Interesting. Nearby, actually. I think I'll at least get a coating to maybe an inch of snow at best. But yeah, Indianapolis will be like in here, about 7 inches of snow. Sandusky will be over here, about 9 inches. Detroit, about 8 to 9 inches. Toledo, very similar situation. I mean, Chicago, 1 to 2 inches again. Man. And I cannot imagine if this keeps on moving to southeast here. Be crazy if it does. I guess we could wait on the 3 km. You see there how it really adds up those snowfall amounts. But what are you guys' thoughts on this here? Wonder what you guys' thoughts are on this here. We only had 1 to 2 people watching the stream here. Darn. Man. I don't think freezing rain would be a threat though. At least it shouldn't be a threat. We can move on to the northeast though. I the the major story to this here is actually just the Midwest, the Great Lakes region. The Northeast is so far staying the same at this point here. Those higher elevations will see the most snowfall amounts. A minute. There we go. Could probably be able to see a couple streaks of snow. But I think I'm gonna stop it here. Since we did wait on the NAM in the NAM 3 km to like kind of go through its latest update. It seems like it's gonna